Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Health Coach for Women. Today, I always like to start, as you know, with quotes. I love quotes. But first, I'd just like you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. Now, I'd like to start out with quotes. Today, I'll be talking to you about self-care and how can we make that more of just a daily habit, something that we do all the time rather than just occasionally or sometimes, or, something that we do whenever we get a chance, right? How can we make that more of a daily ritual, a daily habit where it becomes something as simple as a routine, like when we brush our teeth, right? And so, but I want to give you this quote first that I found, and it's pretty simple. And I did have it right here. So now I'm trying to find it. Okay. All right. So it is so important to take time for yourself and find clarity. The most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. And of course, I always like to read it twice so it can sink in. It is so important to take time for yourself and find clarity. The most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. Now, how true is that? How many of you do believe this to be true? And I know I do. I do believe it to be true. It is the most important relationship that you can have ever, is the one you can have with yourself. And so when we talk about self-care, we mean yes, we do have to put ourselves first. Now, some people may disagree with that, to each his own. My belief is that you have to take care of yourself first, right? Because you can't give from an empty cup. You can't give from an empty cup. And it's as simple as that. And when you are healthy and when you are vibrant and alive and feel energetic and happy, you're able to really let that shine. You're able to really let all of what you're feeling, your emotions, shine in a positive level, on a positive level, right? With this higher vibration, when you say you have these good vibes, good energy, and you feel happy, you're able to express that better to others when you feel good about yourself and who you are. But when we don't feel that way, when we don't feel good about ourselves, and when we do feel tired, or we do feel like we lack clarity and focus, and we do feel unhappy about whatever it is that's going on with our lives, right? It tends to affect other things. It can affect other things, and also not just things, but people, right? Our workspace, our family, our loved ones, right? And some people say, well, no, I can do it well because I can mask it well. And some people can mask it really well. But some way or another, it shows up, whether you see it or not. Some way or another, it does show up. And you may not be the one to see it. Someone else may bring it to your attention. Okay, so it's so important that we make time for ourselves to do the things that is required for ourselves, right? For us, for our own happiness and well-being. And what are some of those things, right? Some of those things, of course, is eating healthier foods, right? And I'm always going to talk about nutrition, because the foods we eat, the things that we eat, that we put in our mouths, are some of the things that are causing our illnesses, right? Causing many of our illnesses. right? Such as diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety, mood swings. All of these things is because the food is absorbed in our gut, right? And also, you know that there is a gut and brain relationship, right? And so if you don't know that, there is a relationship to what we eat and how it impacts the brain. Okay, so it's important to know that. That should be one of your top self-care routines, is eating healthier, good quality foods, right? You may not be able to afford all organic or something like that, but just better quality foods, right? Avoiding those processed foods, avoiding all these juices, sugary drinks with all the sugar in it. It's sometimes it's so sweet you have to mix it, water it down, right? Avoiding carbonated drinks, these sodas and things like that. It is not healthy for you. So a part of your self-care should always be health. It should be one of your number one priorities, right? On the top three, I'd say, and other things. And another thing is your spirituality, right? How important is that for you with your self-care? Finding spirituality, whether, whatever faith or religion, whatever you associate with, how important is that to you, right? And so that should be important. That should be on your priority list as well. Making time to connect, right, with Source, God, the Creator, the Most High, Allah, whatever you choose to call it, whatever you choose to call the Creator of all. Okay, so we want to be connected. We want to be in a place of a love frequency, is what I'd like to call it, a love frequency, because when you're in that place of a love frequency, then what are things that seems to fade away, right? And what else happens when we operate from a love frequency? Right. Well, what happens is that fear becomes less important. We don't focus on fear. We don't focus on fear when we're operating from a love frequency, right? Because we're operating on a frequency of love rather than fear. And I'm always saying choosing love over fear, right? Because fear is false evidence appearing real, right? Or also another one, on a positive side, you could say false, face everything and rise, right? That's another one that you can say, that you want to be in this place that where your self-care and taking care of yourself on a mental, physical, and spiritual level, right, is where it is on the top priority list. Right. These things are important because it's dealing with the whole person, and all of these things impact our lives in some way or another. When things are not well, with our finances, it may impact something else. Right. And so if you can't pay the bills on time, you may sacrifice another or something else, right, in order to get that bill paid. And when you're lacking and when you're always tired all the time, okay, so now you get less sleep. And so when you get less sleep, you're more tired, you're fatigued, you may become moody, right? All of these things are one thing that impacts the other. One thing affects the other in some way or form. And so it's important you won't have a perfect balance, right? There won't always be this perfect balance, but it's to find harmony. Finding harmony with your self-care routine, with your self-care practice. It's every day practicing, self-care, waking up in the morning with this attitude of gratitude, saying thank you. And today I'm choosing to have a good day. Today I'm happy because I'm alive. Today I'm happy. I'm still able to have all of my five senses. I'm able to wake up and see my children. I'm able to wake up and see my husband. Finding gratitude in the simple things. And I will always talk about how important that is. And that's one of the things that you can implement in your self-care, is practicing an attitude of gratitude. Okay, practicing an attitude of gratitude. So when we look at the things, and when it comes to self-care, we look at what our spiritual health, right? Where we are in our spirituality, where we want to be. Also, we look at our nutrition because nutrition is important. And your body is your temple. So no more of putting toxins in the body or trying your best to reduce toxins in the body, because now we know now that there's toxins all over the air, all in the air. And I also think I heard something about, it was on the news or something, I overheard it somewhere, but they were saying that they're finding microplastics in the air, microplastics in the air. So what do? The air quality is bad, the food is bad. What do? We do the best that we can do, right? And so we're not going to get on this like so fanatic, right? Because at one time, I was like that, and I had to tell myself, okay, calm down, but it was just so annoying to me. It was so frustrating to me, learning all of these different things that they can make these modified foods and grow this in a lab. And it was just so frustrating for me, right? And so I became so aggravated about it. And I was like, no, I need to do more. I need to learn more. We need to get back to the basics. We need to get back to nature, the way things that was done by nature, by the creator, by the most high, how it was set in place, right? These are the things that we need to get back to, right? And depending on where you live, right, you want to go out and get in touch with nature. Plant your feet on the ground, right? Walk bare feet on the ground, walk bare feet in the sand. I know if you're in a seasoned place like where I am now in Ohio, it's cold outside, it's snow on the ground. So no, I won't be doing any of that. But you can do things that will still improve your quality of life, improve your wellness, improve your well-being. And this is so important. And I know for those of you who are caregivers or have young children, it's hard, right? It's hard taking care of our elderly parents. It's hard doing these things. But in the midst of all of that, we need to put aside, I don't care if it's 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If you can give yourself an hour a day, that's phenomenal. You want to prioritize, right? And being able to take care of yourself and nurturing yourself, right? And that is so important. I can't stress that enough, because if you think it does not impact your health, you are sadly mistaken. We want more quality foods. I mentioned that. So better nutrition, having that spirituality, finding a place of spirituality. What are some other things that makes up part of your self-care, right? What are some of those things that make up that part of your self-care, a part of you and who you are? And it's loving yourself, treating yourself good, right? Treating yourself with kindness and not judging yourself so harshly. Sometimes we judge ourselves so harshly for things that can be out of our control. We blame ourselves for things not working, or we blame ourselves for the dumb mistakes that we've made. I know I have. I've mentioned it before in my book. I've mentioned it before several times on social media, the dumb mistakes that I've made in my life. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. At one time, I was ashamed to admit it. At one time, I was ashamed to admit all of these things, my failures and bad judgment and stupid things that I've done and poor choices, right? Even with neglecting my health, right? Bad choices. But I decided that no more will I do these things. No more will I do things that will sabotage my health and my well-being, because I am important. Just as we value our children and our parents, and we love our parents and we love our children and our spouses, and we care for them and we nurture them and give them kindness, we need to do that with ourselves also. And whatever things from the past that could be keeping you stuck, you need to come out of that and embrace who you are and where you are right now in this present moment. You may not be where you want to be, and that's okay. What matters most is where you are now and where you're headed. But being present is the most important thing. And being present, you will find so much joy in the now. You can find joy in the now. So practicing self-care is loving yourself unconditionally, loving yourself even with your flaws, right? Even with your imperfections. And I talk about that too, because I myself am not perfect. We're not perfect. We are just here, just striving to do better. The goal is not to be perfect, but to do better, to do better. And when you're always striving for this perfection, you find yourself just really not moving ahead or getting where you want to go. And things will not always work out the way you want them to. And in life, that happens, right? We know that in life, things happen, but we pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, and we keep going. And so that is what it is to be meant to be strong and resilient. We keep going. But we need those anchors. We need those things that will help us to get there, to keep us going. So what is it for you? What is it for you that helps you to keep it going? Is it reading your scriptures? Is it reading books? Is it watching movies? Is it just taking walks in a park? Is it all of the above? Is it spending quality time with family? Make it a priority. Whatever it is for you, make those things a priority. Again, remember, a lot of the mood swings, depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, a lot of these things are coming from the foods that we eat. So that should be on one of your top lists. I say make it one of your top 3. Whatever your top 3 is, nutrition should be in there somewhere. Okay, eating healthier foods that are close to nature as possible. That is what you want. You want natural foods, right? More preferably alkaline foods, right? You want to eat as much quality foods as you can. And I know that, in these places of what we call food deserts, right? In certain areas, there are lower quality foods, but you can still go to places like Trader Joe's, Aldi's, things like that. Whole Foods is awesome. Yes, it is a little pricey, but you can still find these things, or even in your regular local supermarket. You can use the store brand foods, where you can get quality foods, right? So that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. I wanted to stress to you the importance of your self-care, and it's so important. I can't stress it enough. Last year I said it was a year of healing for many, a year of healing, but this year let it be a year of being in alignment, right? Being more in harmony and alignment. That's what I like to call this year, being in harmony and alignment. Okay. And so what you can also do is work on doing a detox. I mentioned that before. So if you really want to get started on your detox journey, your healthcare journey, your self-care journey, wellness journey, whatever you want to call it, whatever journey that you're striving for, working on towards your health and well-being, make it a priority and start doing some simple things. If you have food intolerances, or you find yourself being more bloated than usual, you're fatigued, you're tired all the time, you don't have any focus, try doing an elimination diet. Try that, where you're eliminating a lot of these foods, carbonated drinks, breads, pasta, wheat, things with gluten in it, a lot of omega-6s, very inflammatory. Omega-6 is very inflammatory. They're in a lot of things. Soybean contains a lot of omega-6, which is inflammatory, which is in salad dressing. It's in a lot of things. Okay, so just do something like that. Start out by doing something simple, maybe doing a detox, doing a detox, also, trying clean eating. And if you have any questions or concerns on how I can help you, you can always reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. You can always shoot me, or even here on this podcast, you can send me an email and reach out to me. I'm free and open to answer any questions that you may have. Okay. And so that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. Really hoping that really hits home. And this year, we really have to focus on just doing better, not just for ourselves. Now, think about it. I want to say this, not just for ourselves, but what about for our children and our grandchildren? What if we can educate them more, right, on eating healthier, better foods, for our spouses to eat better, lessen their sodium, removing certain foods and stop messing with the fast food, these chicken nuggets and all these things at McDonald's that these kids love. No, that needs to be eliminated or lessen it in a great deal if you can't eliminate it all the way, right? And I say eliminate it all the way because it's really unhealthy. Okay, and a lot of these things have a lot of things in it that the food looks like food and tastes like food, but it's not real food, guys. It's not real food. And it's the food that's causing a lot of our imbalances, a lot of our hormone imbalances, a lot of the things that's going on in our bodies. It's coming from food. Okay, it's coming from food. And I could say it could be some other things as well, due to trauma, different things like that. But I'm not going to touch on that topic today. But the main thing is, if you want better brain health, you want better focus, you want better clarity, you want more energy, right? It's the food. Okay. It's the food. So that is all I have for you at this time. I appreciate you and thank you. I know I've been gone for a while, but I'm back now and I'm learning so much more. I'm doing more learning. I love this journey that I'm on, and I want to share it with you guys. It's so important. Once you can find this real place of joy and peace and happiness, and you don't have to have money. You don't have to be wealthy to have it. Okay. Although it's a good thing, I want you to know that it's not about things like that, these superficial things, right? It's about you and where you are, and you can do more with less, just with the simplicity of things. And it starts with gratitude. Changing your mindset, changing the way you think. That's what it's all about. Changing your mindset into a more positive state of mind, right? And I talk about flow, right? Just living in a state of flow, feeling love overflow within. That love frequency. Operate from a love frequency in a state of flow, feeling love overflow within. That's where I want you to go. That's where I like for you to be. And just stay on the path, stay trying, doing your best, striving to do better. Okay? So, hey, I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers to every single thing, but the things that I do know, the things that I know that I've experienced personally, I can share it with you. All right. So if you haven't done so already, please click the subscribe button. You guys, I'm having a hard time with my words. That's why I try to talk slow because I'm rushing to get all these thoughts out and I'm be fumbling when I'm speaking. But anyway, please subscribe, like, and share this channel, this podcast. I thank you so much and I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Until next time. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.